Hello, Year 9. Short sort of reminder about how to make a proper results table before you do your experiments next week. It's really important you have your results table outlined beforehand. You can always redraw it neatly to submit at the end, but you should have it whilst you're doing the experiments so that you can put the numbers that you're recording in the right places. So the main thing to remember when you are looking at the results table, it should now have 3 columns to it. Your first column should be what you have listed as your independent variable in your table of variables. Your second column should be what is your dependent variable, the thing you are measuring, and both of them need correct units. If there are no units listed at the top of the table, and they should only be at the top, then it's useless to us if we don't know what the numbers mean, what they represent, particularly in this case where we're doing lots of time. If you don't state that it's seconds, people could assume it's hours or minutes or lots of different things. So you need to make sure that your units are very clear. Your last column should be any observations you make. Now, it's very important, guys, in this experiment that you take some quantitative data, so the numbers that are going to be in your first 2 columns, where there should only be numbers, units only go at the top of the table. That we also have our quantitative data, we also have our qualitative data. So what we actually see happening in the experiment. So color changes, fizzing, effervescence, bubbling, this kind of thing. So you need to make sure that you record some observations in here for each of your experiments so that you can write about them in your conclusion. So just to make sure we're all quite clear, we've got 3 possible research questions here down the bottom. And your research question, of course, contains your independent variable and your dependent variable, so it should be pretty easy just to put them in the table. So our independent variable in the first one is the temperature. So we would have temperature in degrees Celsius in the first column. And the second is the time taken for 0.5 grams of salt to dissolve. Now that is the entire dependent variable, not time. Okay, so in your table, you must write the entire dependent variable. It is, you are measuring the time taken for 0.5 grams of salt to dissolve. So that whole section should be listed as your dependent variable. And because it's rate, we always measure the time in seconds, not minutes, it is in seconds, guys. So your unit should be seconds. And then obviously observations would be anything you would see. For our second question, our independent variable would be the concentration of bleach. Remember, it has to be the whole independent variable, not just concentration. Concentration, if you're changing it, lots of you will have never seen this unit before, but we measure concentrations in something called moles per decimeter. Okay, so this is our unit for concentration down here. It's basically a measure of the number of particles in a decimeter cubed, which is the same as a litre. So that would be your units for your concentration. And then obviously we have time taken for food coloring to decolorize. Remember, the whole dependent variable has to be in there, not just time. It's going to be seconds again. And then our last one, our independent variable, is surface area of an antacid tablet, the whole thing, not just surface area. And again, time taken to dissolve would be our whole dependent variable. Surface area, the units can be tricky. Because if all you're doing with your surface area is having like the whole tablet, breaking it in half, breaking it into quarters, something like that, there is not really any unit for that because they are discrete. It's 1 tablet, 2 halves of a tablet, 4 quarters of a tablet. So you would not need to write units in for that one. You just have to be very clear that it is 1 tablet, etc., etc. So hopefully your table should be pretty simple to put together. I strongly suggest you do them online on here like this or in Excel so that you can type the numbers in as you're doing it, so it's easier to record them. Okay, hopefully you have fixed your methods And now you can get on with your table. Have a good day.